Hey, welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're going to dive into a really fascinating idea about language, how we communicate, and the surprising power you can find by just keeping things simple. So just think about that for a second. What if your entire vocabulary, everything you have to express every single thought, every feeling, was capped at just 850 words? Do you think you could still get your point across? It sounds kind of crazy, right? But that idea is at the very heart of what we're going to explore today. All right, so to really wrap our heads around this, let's start with a word we all use every single day, probably without even thinking about it. That word is watch. Seems pretty straightforward, doesn't it? But you'll see. Let's break it down a bit.
Okay, so on the one hand, you've got watch as a noun. It's a thing, right? The little clock you wear on your arm. The person looks at his watch. Super simple. But it's also a verb. It's an action. Yesterday, I watched the person cook. Two totally different meanings, all packed into one tiny five-letter word.
So yeah, watch is a super versatile word. We get it. But here's the thing. That's not even the most interesting part about it. It's actually hiding a connection to this huge, radical idea about language itself. So let's peel back the layers. And this is where it gets really interesting. Our simple little word, watch, it's the key to a much, much bigger idea. You see, it wasn't chosen for our example by accident. And there it is. That one little sentence, it changes everything. It's on a list, a very specific, very important list called the Basic English 850 list. So the obvious question is, what on earth is that? So 850, that's the magic number. The whole idea was that this tiny group of words could somehow do all the heavy lifting for an entire language. How is that even possible? And why? Well, that brings us to the whole point of this explainer, this concept called Basic English. It was a serious attempt to build a completely functional, working version of the English language using only that core set of 850 words. So what is it exactly? Well, think of Basic English as a stripped-down, simplified version of the language. It was designed from the ground up to be a tool for everyone, everywhere. And the entire system, the whole shebang, is built on this foundation of just 850 very carefully chosen words. And the goals behind it were pretty massive, you know? It was meant for global communication, designed to be super easy for learners to pick up, to cover all the things you need for daily life, and even to be a kind of stepping stone for learning all of English later on. Okay, so let's bring this all the way back to where we started. How does this connect to our word watch? Why was watch considered so essential that it made the cut for this exclusive list of 850? What makes it so special? Well, it really comes down to this number, 65. Believe it or not, according to Wiktionary, at least 65 different languages have a word for watch. That tells you something huge. The idea of a watch isn't just an English thing. It's practically a universal human concept. And that right there shows you just how clever this whole process was. The people who created Basic English weren't just picking words out of a hat. No, they were looking for these universal building blocks for ideas, concepts like time or seeing things or home that people understand no matter what culture they're from. So a word was chosen not just for what it meant in English, but for what it meant to the world. So this kind of gets us to the bigger picture, right? This whole idea of Basic English really forces us to think about communication itself. What do we really need to say to get our point across and be understood? Probably the absolute best way to think about it is like this. Legos. These 850 words aren't a prison, they're a building set. You might only have a limited number of pieces, but if you're creative, you can snap them together to build almost anything. So instead of saying, I photographed the bird, you might say, I made a picture of the bird. See, you're building complex ideas out of simple, powerful parts. And that leaves us with this really fascinating question to chew on. In a world that just feels more and more complex, filled with jargon and a massive vocabulary, could there be some kind of hidden power in limitation? Is it possible that the clearest, most effective way to be understood isn't about saying more, but about very carefully choosing to say less? Something to think about.